So it's really difficult when you're born with sun and moon signs which are very different from each other. That's a big challenge, because you are headed to some place. You're almost like you're on a journey, which is the sun journey, and this place is called Gemini, for example. But then your moon is in Sagittarius, which is the opposite to Gemini. Every day you would like, or you would want and crave for, and that's very subconscious, Sagittarius type of things, stimulations, which are of the type of the Sagittarian, which is broadening your horizons, going places, traveling, learning about different people, different cultures, things which are very foreign to you, experimenting with things which are not settled down in one place, but rather expanding your horizons. A global kind of mind is what the Sagittarius wants. So if you have the moon in Sagittarius, you would be restless, to always be on the move, to always be doing something, to be out there, not staying at home and constantly eating and watching TV, for example. That's not a Sagittarian moon. It doesn't want that. It doesn't need that. It needs constant action and variety. But then the sun in Gemini will also want variety, but different sort of variety, more familiar variety, more having my circle of friends and constantly interacting with these people. It will be interested in small details rather than general philosophies, which is Sagittarius. And will be interested, Gemini will be interested in the next day, in tomorrow. What's going to happen tomorrow? How to make tomorrow more interesting than today, or more valuable than today. And then that's your moon actually, Annie, not your sun. You've got a bit of a different, so it's what you need every day to have this variety and constant speaking and communicating with people. Different. The more different, the better. The more varied experiences you can gather about so many different things in life, because Gemini feels like they're missing things, because there is not enough time to experience everything, the better. But then it is not a very long-term thinker. It will be stuck, most likely, because at some point the information will be too much, the experiences will be too much, and there will be no integrating principle in which to make a, like you make a summary of a text. You read a long text and you need to make a summary. That's the specialty of the Sagittarian, to be able to extract the meaning out of the many details, the general meaning, those things which are valid for everyone or for most people. And the Sagittarius principle is what says, okay, that's what we all have in common, even though we've got the differences, individual differences. So now, based on what we have in common, let's make laws, for example, or let's construct an education system, or let's do this and that. These are governing principles in society. Sagittarius is a societal sign, while Gemini is interested in its own development. Mine, it's about me. It's about how I experience as much as possible in life. Gabi, you've got the moon in Gemini as well. That's why I'm concentrating, because among you, sorry, I will go to you as well later when I'm speaking about Taurus, because you and Annie have Taurus in common, even though with you it's Ascendant, with her it's Sun. But when I speak about Sun and Ascendant as a comparison between the two, I think it will make sense. How you look like a Taurus, but you're not. Well, she is, even though she doesn't very much look like it. Yeah. So, going back to the moon and the sun, we need to make them work together somehow. There is no formula, unfortunately, about this. But if they happen to be very different, we just need to. Very different means opposite signs, or signs on a square, which means, for example, moon in, I'm just thinking what example to give you. You know, there are 12 signs, and they have this division in 3. Some of you already know about this, but one of the many ways, there are many ways in which they divide the signs in the zodiac to explain different concepts. But one of the ways is called modalities. This is the fixed, cardinal, and mutable. So out of the 12 signs, we have 3 groups like that, So 4 signs are fixed, 4 are cardinal, and 4 are mutable. Everything starts with the cardinals. These are the points in the year, because the zodiac is, some of you already know, ultimately the seasons, the cycle of the seasons. So we've got 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. So the summer solstice and the winter solstice, and the spring equinox and the fall equinox. These are the 4 points of the year where we can say something new starts, a new process in nature starts. And that's what in astrology we refer to as Aries, spring equinox, Libra, the opposite, fall equinox, Cancer underneath in the summer. The middle of summer is Cancer, where Cancer starts. And then Capricorn, the opposite to Cancer, which is the middle of winter. So these 4 are the cardinal signs in astrology. And the fixed are the ones after them. So after Aries we have Taurus, then we have after Cancer, Leo, the second fixed, after Libra, Scorpio, and after Capricorn, Aquarius. So these 4 are the fixed. And then the rest are the mutable. So what is this all about? Something starts, cardinal, it lives its life, goes in a circle somehow, and lives, something happens to it, different things happen to it, in a circle, in a cycle. And then this has to finish somehow, somewhere, it needs to stop somewhere, like a human life needs to finish somewhere, and anything really. So that's where the mutables come up, and they say how this is gonna mutate or change or die. And looking into the signs of the zodiac in this way really helps. If you know this principle, it really helps to know what is the sign's agenda. What is it interested in? Is it interested to start something, to be a pioneer in something, to begin a process, or is it interested more to rotate the wheel and manage something and to develop something, which is the fixed signs? Or is it more interested to change, to go from, to spot where things need to move to a new level? Yeah, which is the mutable signs. But then each one of the 3 groups acts in 4 ways. So we have 4 cardinal signs, yeah, in these 4 points of the year. But one is fire, one is water, one is earth, one is air. So that's what astrology mostly rotates around: the modalities and the elements. So when we look at the position of Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, what we need to see is among the 3, what happens with us. So, for example, Gabi, in your case, just like that, you have the Sun in Libra, so you have cardinal air here. That means something. Only that cardinal air means something, a lot already. Then you've got the Moon in Gemini, like Ani. What is this? This is mutable air. So 2 airs, but one is cardinal, one is mutable. That's the difference between them. Then the third one is Scorpio, the Ascendant, yeah? So Ascendant is fixed water. So that's the mixture. Let's try to translate a little bit. So Sun in Libra is cardinal air. So the beginning of the process of air, which means the beginning of thinking and connecting with other people. Association with other elements. Libra and every air sign wants to connect with others through intellectual concepts and through speaking, thinking, communicating, everything to do with rationality and the brain. So Libra is one of those 4 air signs, but it's a cardinal one. And cardinal means it sets the stage for something new. And what it says, Libra says, we need to begin with now is relationships. Opposite to Libra is Aries, which is another beginner, another cardinal. But that says beginning of personality, just the opposite to relationships. So Aries says, now we need to start learning who we are and what to do with ourselves. While Libra starts exploring other people and starts getting interested in relationships with other people. But what these 2 have in common, because they're cardinal signs, is that they both start something. Yeah? While what they have as a difference is that one is fire, one Aries is fire, Libra is air. So fire is enthusiasm, action. I just want to move forward. I want to do things. I want to experiment. I want to conquer new territories, more or less. That's what Aries, I want to learn how to be brave and fight my own battles. That's the task in Aries. The task of Aries is basically to survive, to remain, to keep on, because it's like a baby that's completely like helpless and needs to start from somewhere. Libra is already the beginning of the second part of the zodiac. So Aries starts the first part of the zodiac, the personal part. Well, Libra starts the second part, which is more interested in other people, in society, in big things, in big processes. So Libra says, okay, so far so good. I've been through from Aries to Virgo, which is the sixth sign before Libra. So I've been through these 6 stages. And I've done so many different things to flex my muscles, you know, to learn how to be, how to live. But I was mostly interested in myself, how to survive first as an Aries, then as a Taurus I was interested how to, this thing that I want to make it survive, which is myself, how to gather resources and money and possessions and things, and material things, so that I can give it a better chance to survive, even better chance than if it's just pure energy acting out. And how to gather skills, all sorts of resources, not only material. That's what Taurus wants to do. Then Gemini wants to learn about things, learn to speak, learn to communicate, gather information, know things about things so that it can survive. Yeah, all of the first 6 want to do certain things in order to, you know, adjust themselves to be who they are. But then comes Libra, the other point of the year, the middle point, the fall equinox, where everything shifts. Because what had happened is that it wasn't really successful, that thing of trying to survive and trying to, yeah, we survived by Libra, but there were many problems and disillusionments and certain things happened which made us feel like we're not doing that well, that something needs to be changed, that even if we were great in everything that we did, we were a big star, a Leo, like Leo is before Virgo, Leo is number 5, Virgo is number 6, Libra is number 7. So Leo wanted to shine, to show everybody else how good they are, how capable they are, and to get admiration, to get feedback from this. But even the best Leo performer is never always good. At some point it will fail, inevitably. Everybody cannot be good all the time, in everything. On their own is the key. So what happens in Libra is Libra has already realized that I need to partner. I need to find other people to join hands with in order that we continue forward. I can't continue just on my own. Yeah, and that's why Libra is so preoccupied with relationships. It's like wants to go into many relationships to explore that, but it's not very good in it, which is normal because it's just starting. You know, it's so natural not to be good in it because you are like a pioneer. It's a cardinal sign. Aries is not very good in being itself because it doesn't know who they are. There is just a desire to be alive with Aries. You just want to be there, to be present, to do things, and then you hope that in the process you find out who you are. You find 2 different things that happen to you. You find what's really going on here. Who is that me that has been born? And what, yeah? But, and that's why Aries looks to other people, Aries sun people, let's say, look to other people, and this is very general, common like saying out there, which is not always true, that they are very selfish, very, you know, pushy and things like that, all generalizations, obviously. But this is just a side effect. This is a side effect of wanting to be alive, to wanting to survive, wanting to move on your own path, not be disturbed by everybody else that wants to pull you into their direction or other things. You just want to be individual, to be free, and to never stop going forward. And if somebody tells you, no, don't do this, or go do something else which I expect from you, Aries is most likely going to say no and be a bit of a rebel in this. And maybe a little bit aggressive in that, saying no. Because it's not learned yet how to be with other people. That's just not its task so far. Yeah, which doesn't make it aggressive, because Aries doesn't want to hurt anyone. They just want to live their own life. If you don't prevent them, they will not do anything against you, but in general. And Libra, in the same way, feels a little bit inadequate with all of these relationship topics, and you know, it's a challenge to go into a relationship because an Aries lives in every Libra. The memory of that individual lives in Libra, because Libra has been only individual so far, nothing else, and still only begins to be a partner. It will really learn the big lessons of being a partner in the next stage, the Scorpio stage, when the big battle of relationships happens. Libra just says, let's do it. Well, Scorpio really does it. And then there is consequences because of that. And then there are other stages later, until we really learn how to accept everyone, how to merge with everyone. They say a good Pisces has learned this. The final stage, maybe, hopefully, not always. But Libra shouldn't expect from itself to be a master of relationships. That's, I think, very important to know. But it needs to give the courage, because all the cardinals, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, they give like the beginning impulse. They say to everybody else that's scared to go into this particular territory, I'm not scared, I'll go. Even though I don't know what I'm doing, I will try it. I will try this new business idea, even though I don't know where it's gonna bring me. Or I will go into a relationship which scares me, and I have no idea how to deal with this, but I'll try. That's the task of the cardinals. Then the fixed ones come after them. You've got Leo, Moon, it's a fixed sign after Cancer. Fixed is Taurus, Ascendant, Sun, Taurus is the first fixed sign. And Scorpio is fixed, and Aquarius is fixed, if that rings a bell. So they have to take from the cardinals, whatever the cardinals started and initiated, they need to develop it in their own, you know, water, air, fire, whatever it is, style. So they need to get into that business that you set up as an Aries. You know, the Aries are great in the startup ideas, or going into new places, experimenting. And especially fire sign, which Aries is both cardinal and fire. This combination is great for spotting something new, which may be a good idea, which may bring great results. And there is great enthusiasm about it, lots of energy, lots of, you know, let's do it kind of spirit. And Aries very often start things like that, like really enjoy the research and the fighting for it and the initial organizing, setting up of something. But the moment it's already set up and it just needs to run, for example, if they want to open a restaurant, let's say, and it's gonna be a great vegan restaurant or whatever, something very original.
I know an Aries that wants to start a restaurant right now. Probably not a good thing.
Well, no, it's always, they're very good starters of whatever. But the problem is that they can't keep with it. They get bored very quickly. They don't want to continue being stuck into this, because the point of Aries is to move forward. Now I've set up this business, give it to somebody fixed, they'll run it. And then go to the next thing, and then set up something new. The fixed ones are the great managers, the ones that take up a process and really go in a circle, many years. Especially Taurus is very stubborn into sticking with something. Now you have both Taurus and Aries. How is that going to play out? You know, you're not going to be a typical Aries, not so impatient, not so unreliable. You may have a bit of Taurus as well, because your Ascendant is in Taurus. See how things start mixing up. So you don't always fit the description of the sign. Of course you won't, because you're not only that. You're not only that moon or that sun or whatever. It's the mixture. So the fixeds, they're great with keeping up and with going to crises and overcoming difficult periods and still sticking with the thing. But they are so fixed, really, that we can say they're fixated, like especially Scorpio and Taurus. They can't make the change when the change is necessary. And always the change is somehow necessary. The great restaurant, maybe in its peak for 3 years, and then something needs to, we have to change the menu at least, or we have to change the waitress, I don't know, it's something needs to be adjusted, and the fixed signs hate that, they hate change. Because they're so like focused into the task, into what they are, into the process, that they forget about these things. And somebody else needs to come into the picture and say, it's time. Now you have to do something. Or you have to take care of your health, or you're gonna die. You have to change that restaurant, or it's gonna fail.